Okay, we're ready to begin our next learning goal. Today, students will be able to solve equations with addition and subtraction. So we have a new concept here, the concept of an equation. An equation is simply a mathematical statement that uses numbers, operators, and variables to show that two expressions have the same value. And the important part of an equation is that you're always going to see an equal sign. So here's an example of an equation. We have x plus 12 is equal to 17. The x plus 12, that's one expression. The 17, even though it's a number by itself, is also an expression. And the equation shows us that x plus 12 has the same value as 17. So with this information, we're going to be able to find out what is the value of x. And this is called solving the equation. So in order to solve equations, we're going to use the inverse operation. Inverse means opposite. So if we're having an addition problem, we're going to use subtraction. If we have a subtraction problem, we're going to use addition. And the whole idea of this, using the inverse operation, is that we want to put all of the variables on one side of the equal sign, and we want to put all of the numbers on the other side of the equal sign, so that when we get our answer, it shows that a variable is equal to some number. So here's some simple problems. We're going to start off with x plus 12 is equal to 17. And so I've gone ahead and written the equation here. X plus 12 is equal to 17. We said we're going to use the inverse operation. And in this case, we have a positive or a plus 12. So that means we're going to subtract 12. But whatever we do to one side of the equation, we have to do to the other side of the equation. So if we subtract 12 on this side, we have to subtract 12 on the other side. When we do that, when we have 12 minus 12, that's going to equal 0. When we have 17 minus 12, that's going to equal 5. Then we bring down the variable. So this expression now says x plus 0 is equal to 5. Well, we don't have to include the plus 0 part, so now we can rewrite that as x is equal to 5. Okay, our second sample problem that we're going to do is x minus 45 is equal to 90. Okay, so I've written the equation down again. X minus 45 is equal to 90. In this case, because we're subtracting 45, that means in order to balance this out, we're going to add 45. So we're going to add 45, but remember, if we do something to one side of the equation, we have to do it to the other side of the equation. So if we have a minus 45 and a plus 45, that's going to balance out to 0. And then 90 plus 45, 5 plus 0 is 5. 9 plus 4 is 13. So that's 135. Then we bring down the x, and we bring down the minus sign. So now we have x minus 0 is equal to 135. Again, we don't have to include the minus 0 part, and so we can rewrite that as x is equal to 135. Okay, our next sample problem is x plus 13 is equal to 42. So again, I've written the problem down. We see that it's an addition problem, so we're going to do the inverse operation, which is subtraction. So we're going to subtract 13 from both sides. Again, a positive 13 minus 13 is 0. We're going to subtract 42 minus 13, so we need to borrow to make that a 12. And so that equals 29. And then we bring down the x and the positive sign. Again, this shows us that x plus 0 is equal to 29. We don't have to write the plus 0 part, and so we just write x is equal to 29. Okay, this is our last sample problem that I've written down here. It's a little bit different than the other ones because this time we have a minus x and we're subtracting x, which means we're going to have to actually have two steps in our problem to solve this correctly. So the first step that we're going to do is we're going to move or subtract the constant, the 9, from this side over to this side. So we're going to subtract 9 from both sides. So 9 minus 9 is 0. 25 minus 9, we have to borrow. 15 minus 9 is 6. And then bring down the 1. So that's 16 minus x is equal to 0. Now what we have to do is we have to move the x from this side over to this side. In order to do that, we have to add, again, we're using the inverse operation. So the inverse of subtraction is addition. So we're going to add x to both sides. Well, when you have a minus x plus x, that's going to equal a 0. They cancel each other out. We bring down the 16 and the equal sign, and then we have 0 plus x is simply x. And again, we don't have to include the minus 0 part, so we have our answer, which is 16 is equal to x. Notice that it's backwards this time. We have the x over here on the right hand side. That's okay because 16 equal to x is the same thing as x is equal to 16. These equations, both of these equations mean the same thing. They just mean that this expression x is equal to this expression 16. Alright, so that's it for our sample problems. Go ahead and log on to Moodle. Work on the practice problems that we have on Moodle and bring any questions that you have to class tomorrow, and we'll go over this again tomorrow. That's it, so have a great evening.